Peace is over. Crypto might be cooked. Today, we're going to break it down for you. There is a lot happening in the market. So get ready, guys. You've probably heard me mention Uphold before, and there's a reason I keep talking about them. Uphold makes it incredibly easy to bridge the gap between your portfolio and the real world. This has not been done before. Their Uphold debit card is the best example of that. It lets you spend your crypto or your cash anywhere Visa is accepted, all while earning 4% back in XRP on every purchase. It's the easiest way to stack rewards on your daily spending. Download the Uphold app for more and get started. All right, let's go into it today. I want to talk about this right here, and that is the impact on the markets itself. We're talking about $500 billion, guys. That's right, $500 billion. This gets a little bit sketchy because there is a lot hitting right now with what's going on with the MOU and the Iranian war being stalled. You look right here, over 600 billion wiped out from precious metals. That's in the last 90 minutes. Now, by now, who knows where it's going to be going? Gold is down almost 2%. Silver is down 4%, probably going to 5 or 6% down. That would be wiping out over $150 billion in a very short period of time. The market is absolutely getting cooked right now. The S&P 500 down 1, NASDAQ down 1.5. WTI crude down is up 5. We'll talk about that. Brent's up 6. Mainly energy is going to get a move right now. So if you're in energy stocks, you're probably nice and happy for the day. So I want to go to a clip real quick that will get into what Trump said about all of this because it's not good. Take a look.
Is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. And so we hit them very hard last night. Very, very hard. Probably hit them hard again tonight. I'll give them a little warning. We're going to hit them hard tonight.
All right, guys, I don't know, but listen, I'm not political, but what I do understand, this is not how you negotiate, no matter what the other side does. I understand sometimes you get a little upset. They don't come to the table for, in some cases, good reason, but you just can't do that. You can't go out there and call people names and, just get into this rhetoric fight because all it does, if you have another side that's just as unstable, it doesn't do anything in terms of forwarding the idea of peace, which is really the thing that we're trying to focus on. The Iranian state media, of course, doubled down on this, saying, oh, yeah, you strike us, we're going to hit you twice as hard. This is the kind of rhetoric that most likely will be in place, I think, for the next few weeks. It does not look good right now. And you've got the president in a position right now where he's starting to, I don't know, maybe this is shaking him a little bit. He's referring to Zelensky as Putin. He's got the Islamic Republic of Japan in here. Both those don't exist. So this is an issue right now that I think we are faced with. And let's just think about this right now, because you have this reignition of the war. You have other situations that many people would say, all right, it's all been really centered around the relationship with Israel. And if you look at something that's happening right now, the congressional proposal, this is a congressional proposal that could deepen the U.S. complicity within this, especially involved. And I want to zoom in on this for you guys to look at this. This is very interesting. This is buried in the 1.5 or 1.15 trillion National Defense Authorization Act. So basically, military industrial complex. This would enable Section 219, formerly 224, so you guys can go out there and AI it all you want. It creates a role of an executive agent, keyword executive agent, it focuses on folding Israel technology into U.S. weapons programs and vice versa, including missile, air defense technologies, AI, quantum computing, cyber warfare, and autonomous systems. Does this sound like we're trying to get out of a war? This does not look good, and I think this is a problem if we continue to see this kind of issue. Thomas Massie, of course, hits on this. He's going to go back in and try to offer an amendment to strip Section 219 from the NDAA. And if that happens when the House reconvenes on July 13th, only one problem. If you look at the calendar for this, let me kind of zoom in on that right there, guys. There's nothing that he could present on So you've got the budget, and maybe he's talking about the 14th, because on 13th, no, not going to happen. Maybe he's got to be talking about the 14th, try to do something in the oversight maybe, or in the hearing, the budget hearing. I don't know where he would do it to be able to get this in. I want to go to another clip here because this gets into what Tucker Carlson was talking about with another politician around Section 219. It gets very scary. Take a look.
Who are the people pushing this?
But this was folded into the bill. Nobody knows who put it in. That's number one. Number two, they don't want to talk about it. They just want to quietly slip this provision into a bill without debate. Remember, they shut off any hope in the Rules Committee of a debate over an amendment by Tom Massey and Ro Khanna. They had an amendment up. They didn't even include it in the list of amendments that would be made in order when they go to the floor. There was no debate in the committee over this. When it gets to the floor, then there won't be any debate over this provision.
We don't know who pushed it?
Well, we know whose idea it was, Benjamin Netanyahu. They can entangle the U.S. into things. All of a sudden, you want to fight me, buddy? Here's me, buddy, and you're off to the next war.
Without the Congress ever debating it, no one going on the record to support it, it would just all of a sudden become part of the system. It's embedded in the way the U.S. government operates. They just can effectively control 80% of our discretionary.
No committee hearings, no debate, in the bill. There you have it.
All right, so this absolutely upsets me. It pisses me off in the sense that we have lawmakers in D.C. that are pulling this kind of BS. And first of all, dropping all this in one of the issues that we've been talking about quite a bit, and that is being involved with Israel. This is a problem going forward. I don't understand why D.C. continues to go this direction. It is definitely against what the American people want, and I think that's going to probably show up at the polls. The problem is if this doesn't get flipped, it's going to happen. And what is it going to affect? It's going to affect oil prices. There's Brent crude right now. You're looking at that small little jump right there. That's just today, guys. That's just today right there, coming in from, what were we? Hovering around $70 a barrel, popping up already 10% just in half a day of what's going on. And look at this right now. Remember the last time we saw this was February, okay? And you saw this rise up here to this top, which was $109 a barrel then on the early, and then right there, all-time high, $115 a barrel, guys. This goes to 120 or 130 a barrel, and you are in a position where you have absolute madness in the streets, and I think the markets will take a massive hit going forward. And of course, this is the point right here that we're dealing with right now, because there's two things the U.S. cannot afford. One, rate hikes, and two, a prolonged costly war. The reason is because of the energy costs themselves, much less what we're going to be dealing with across all these other issues in reference of the sell-off of hard assets. The market structure itself is going to start to basically disassemble in the sense of what we're seeing not only on stocks, but precious metals, where crypto is going to be going. I anticipate right now, Bitcoin will probably start feeling the heat, even though it's still trading above 62 as we go. All right, one other point right here is the FOMC minutes have been released, which tells us a little bit more about what's going to happen. The Fed officials saw a case for a rate hike, but back end holding steady. That's kind of where we are. But the point is 9 officials see at least one 25 basis points hike this year, with 6 seeing 2 hikes and another 9 seeing no move or cut. So basically you have more than half seeing some sort of hike this year. And if you go in and look at the poly market right now in October, this would be the October meeting. This is a all-time. I'll go and show you what this moved in just a week. All right, we were setting at 42, now already pumping above 50, over 50% chance right now of October meeting seeing a Fed rate hike. And of course, this will all lean in on what's going on, not only in the Middle East, but also with inflation. The other thing that we have to kind of get into is the realization that clarity is on the ropes. We have been promised time in and time out. We have now a new date, August 7th, leading into this. And I don't know if you guys are sick of it, but I am sick of it in the sense of they won't get anything done. And they're not going to get anything done by August 7th. The probability is getting lower and lower. We just had Rebecca Rettig on talking about this, and even she had it, she's a bull on this, and she had it around 50%. So not a good one. You have Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York. Now he's throwing himself in the game of proposing the Clarity Act and getting it done. So getting behind it, and I think there's a reason. Unfortunately, Cuomo has been, captured by the crypto industry, and that's okay. I mean, I get it, I understand, but the point is, I don't think it makes a difference right now. We are not going to see it. The SEC, though, is on the move, and this is something that I think will be good for crypto in general, and that is if Clarity does not go through, the SEC and the CFTC, to a certain extent, will start to put down regulatory framework without Clarity to at least deal with and help clarify a lot of what crypto assets, as well as some of these other companies, are going to be able to do to enter the market, because MiCA is not waiting. And many of these companies, I think, are just kind of in a position of, we are just absolutely fed up with this. So that's another issue right now. Here was another breaking news item, which is not good for crypto in general. This was India's central bank just called for a complete ban on cryptocurrency. Doesn't mean it banned it. It means they called for it. What does that mean, though? If you look at the size of India overall, this is a massive amount of people that trade crypto. And when you consider that, along with their ranking, this is number one. U.S. is number two, Pakistan, Vietnam, Brazil. These are the countries right now that are pretty much leading adoption. This would be a huge hit on the crypto market, I think, in general. Further into that, the crypto adoption in India, over 119 million owners. That's 15% of worldwide users. So this, to me, would be a much bigger. Now, how long would it take for them to do that? Because you've got a lot of people that own it. Maybe it would take some time for, divestment or some kind of rulemaking to go in place. Then you'd have all sorts of lawsuits. Who knows what would happen over there? But the point is it starts to slow down the adoption curve, and that's the real issue overall. Another thing that you've got to worry about, if we don't have enough to worry about, now you've got the Treasury saying that the AI bubble risks are similar to the dot-com bubble. Now, this is Scott Bessent, guys. This is a guy that's pretty smart when it comes to this. Hedge fund guy, understands market moves. If this is even sniffing what happened in the dot-com bubble, remember, the dot-com bubble was $7.5 trillion on a market pullback. Imagine that to where it would be today's money. That's over $10 trillion, $7.5 trillion to $10 trillion, if we looked at it similar to what happened back in 1999 and 2000. So if that even gets close, that goes back to the point that Tom Lee has been talking about, and that is a major pullback, possibly 20% in the market. Other things that are going to hit AI is China is now considering curbing overseas access to its top AI models. So some of this may look at, and you say, listen, you got Jikh coming up here soon into the U.S. He's going to meet with president, maybe needs another bargaining chip. This would definitely do it. And I think that's a factor that you have to consider. The other thing that you have to consider is what Andrei Jikh was saying about this, because when you look at the CapEx war, capital expenditures war right now for AI, you have to consider, how does this thing unwind safely? Listen to what Andrei had to say.
The $1 trillion that America's spending. Well, here's something interesting. This is China. On that same scale, America, $764 billion this year, and then $1 trillion next year, 3% of the whole US economy. China, $102 billion this year, $123 billion next year, 0.6% of their economy, which means America's outspending China almost 10 to 1. During the dot-com bubble, the NASDAQ index peaked in March of 2000. Now, all the companies that were laying the fiber optic cables at the time, which are the data centers of that era, they kept spending billions of dollars well into 2001, even though the stock market collapsed a full year before their spending stopped. So the trigger this time around, I think, will be something a lot more subtle. Something like a big tech earnings call where a CEO says something like, "We are moderating the pace of our infrastructure investment," or some boring small thing like that. And that's because the first company that gets rewarded by Wall Street for cutting their AI spending, that will give every other CEO permission to do the same thing.
All right, so he hits it on the head there, and there is something to watch here very closely. I want you to watch what happens with the Meta stock, because Zuckerberg has already hinted that they're going to slow this down. And if you see another major company, because right now Meta not necessarily seeing a major impact in terms of being rewarded, because Meta stock not doing that great. But the point being, if you do see a company or two, it may take more than one. It may take more than one, unless it's someone major. But it may take more than one that will get into that. And I think, though, the minute that occurs, the run rate of what we will see on selling AI stocks will be unprecedented, maybe even more so than what we saw in the dot-bomb era. Remember, because and he is right, it was led by telecommunications, which was really trying to lay down the fiber to deal with the growth of the internet. That's what all that boiled down to. Another thing you have to consider right now is what's going on with DeepSeek. So Reuters reported that DeepSeek is secretly developing its own AI chip. This is going to be a direct hit on NVIDIA, which is a direct hit on AI. This is also a threat to Huawei simultaneously. And then when you consider not only that, DeepSeek, remember, they've done this twice, all right? They've challenged kind of the narrative twice. First showing they need fewer chips to operate. That's already been done. And than anyone thought, that proved out. And then now, if they come in and actually build their own chip, and if they build a chip cheaper and more capable, then we really have a problem, because you've got infrastructure, including these massive companies, and I'll go with AMD, also with NVIDIA. You look at what's going on with almost every company out there that's building on that infrastructure. This is huge, and it could be a big hit on AI. And of course, the unraveling of that will impact major market position, which will eventually impact crypto. This is the one thing that may change a lot of this narrative, and that is the Trump-Xi meeting. And it's coming right there, September 24th. This is probably, I will say that this is one of the most important meetings that a U.S. president has ever done. And there are many reasons. Two is that you've got the U.S. and China pretty much leading the AI race. Let's just call that reason one. We've got to come to some alignment. Maybe this could be the most important meeting yet. So that's what's happening right now, guys. This is a big week. And there's going to be so much, I think, that comes out of not only what's happening in Iran, but what is going on in the market next. The next move over the next few days is going to be critical to where crypto goes from here. So stay tuned for that. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.